Good morning, brothers and sisters. This morning I'm going to continue in Genesis. I'm going to read chapters 7 and 8 from Genesis this morning. I'm going to read out of the New King James Version this morning as well. It says, "Then the Lord said to Noah, 'Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you seven each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female. Also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of all the earth.'" Okay, I want to explain this. I don't know how many. I'm sure a lot of you understand fully how this is worded here. Whenever he tells him, "You shall take you 7 of every clean animal, a male and his female." If you go back, each animal is considered flesh of the other one's flesh if you have a male and a female that are partners. So you have 7 pairs of clean animals, and then you have 2 pairs of unclean animals, because it says a male and his female, and then 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female, which is exactly the way it's stated. You shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, and then I'll just read this other one. 2 each of animals that are unclean. Take with you 7 each of every clean animal, 2 of every unclean, a male and his female. So that means that they'll actually be taking 14 of each clean animal, and they'll be taking 4 of each unclean animal. It says also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female. That would be 7 male and 7 female, to keep the species alive on the face of the earth. "For after 7 days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made." And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the floods were on the earth. So Noah, with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives, went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds, and of everything that creeped on the earth, 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. The windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark. Can you imagine how many animals were in that ark? Talk about the first zoo. The first zoo. Okay. And they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2, all the flesh in which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God had commanded them. They just listened to God's commands. I don't know if you noticed that, brothers and sisters. They just followed him without question. They did as God commanded them. And the Lord shut him in. Noah didn't shut the door of the ark. The Lord shut it himself. It says, and the Lord shut him in. Wow, what faith. What faith. Think about this, brothers and sisters. Just amazing. What faith. This man, it's never rained on the earth ever before. And this man is out there building a gigantic ship in the middle of nowhere where there's no water. Building this huge, gigantic ship. Can you imagine the mockery and the laughter at him while he's doing this? Wow. And the faith. He built this ship with a door he couldn't even close himself. He couldn't physically do it, and there was only a few of them. You know, Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their 3 wives. Imagine shutting a door to that giant ship. They built it with a door open on the side of the ship, expecting it to rain, with no possibility of closing the door. They put every drop of their hope in the Lord. Wow. Every ounce of their hope was put into the Lord. And the Lord shut him in. Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life. All that was on the dry land died. So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping thing and bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive. And the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. Then God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the animals that were with him on the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heaven were also stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters receded continually from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the water decreased. The ark rested in the 7th month, the 7th day of the month, on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. So it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. Then he sent out a raven, which kept going to and fro until the waters had dried up from the earth. He also set forth for himself a dove, to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for the sole of her foot, and she returned into the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. So he put his hand out and took her, and drew her into the ark to himself. And when Jesus was baptized, he came up out of the water, and the Holy Spirit descended upon him like a dove. So he, Noah, put out his hand and took her and drew her into the ark to himself. Just thought I'd put that in there. And he waited yet another 7 days. And again he sent out the dove out from the ark. Then the dove came to him in the evening, and behold, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in her mouth, and no one knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return again to him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month of the first day of the month that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and indeed the surface of the ground was dry. And in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, the birds and the cattle and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, and whatever creeps on the earth, according to their families, went out of the ark. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. And the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake. Although the imaginations of man's heart is evil from his youth, nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. I'll reread that one more time. It says, while the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. This is such an amazing story, brothers and sisters. I don't have a lot more to put in on it, but I do want to say that I love you all so much, and I just pray you all have a wonderful day. Stay strong in the Lord. Be blessed. I'm going to post a link in the comment section for the Father Heart of God live stream from yesterday. I did not join, but it was very good. I had a lot of things going on at the house yesterday evening, so I couldn't really join in live. It would have been an interruption and a distraction instead of a benefit. So I will leave that link in the pinned comments, though. Love you all. Have a blessed day.